I'm Kayleen. I'm 37 years old. And exactly 1 week ago, my divorce became final. I need you to hear what I'm about to say because it might save you years of your life. Not because my story is dramatic or scandalous, but because it's ordinary. And that's exactly why it matters. January 1st, 2026. That was the date on the papers. My ex-husband, Matt, asked for that specific date so we could file taxes jointly one more year. He owns a small business, and it would save him money. I agreed. Even at the end, we were still making those small compromises. That's how reasonable we were, how civilized, how completely devastatingly disconnected. The divorce was my decision, a complete leap of faith. I'm a mom to a 4-year-old daughter. I haven't worked in years. I'm a registered nurse, but I quit during the pandemic to get pregnant. We didn't need my income. Matt was successful. We were comfortable, more than comfortable. On paper, I had everything: a beautiful child, financial security, a husband who wasn't cruel or abusive or unfaithful. And I walked away from it anyway. Most people won't understand that. When I told friends and family, I could see the confusion in their eyes. They kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. There had to be something, right? Some terrible secret, some betrayal. But there wasn't. And somehow, that made it harder to explain. Let me take you back to where it started falling apart. When my daughter was born, everything changed. The pregnancy was easy, the birth was easy. I was lucky in ways I couldn't even count, truly blessed. But the moment she arrived, something inside me shattered. The postpartum anxiety came like a flood. I'd always been an anxious person, but motherhood amplified it to levels I didn't know existed. I went into complete control mode. I stopped trusting myself entirely. I gave all my power away to books, articles, expert opinions, anything that promised to tell me how to be a good mother. Sleep became impossible. Not because my daughter didn't sleep. She was a typical newborn, giving me 3 to 4 hour stretches at night. But I would lie awake next to her bassinet, staring into the darkness, completely alert, unable to relax, unable to let go. I'd only pass out from pure exhaustion, maybe get an hour before she'd wake for her next feeding. Matt was oblivious. He didn't trust his own intuition either, just like me. He told himself he was doing his job. He was the provider. He was physically present. He was making money. In his mind, that was enough. He couldn't see me drowning, and I didn't know how to ask for help. When I did try, my tone was harsh, judgmental. I cut away at his confidence without meaning to. He felt desperate too. He didn't know what to do. We completely lost each other. We became less than roommates. It took a full year before I started to feel like myself again. I'd been in therapy the whole time, only taking a 6-week break right after giving birth. Those therapy sessions, my ability to work on myself during that first year, that was the greatest gift Matt ever gave me. He never knew it. He never understood how much that saved me. After my daughter turned 1, I made it my goal to save the marriage. I worked endlessly with my therapist to become a better partner. Motherhood was slowly growing on me, and I felt like I had the capacity to be a better wife. For 2 more years, I went to therapy religiously. With Matt sometimes, without him other times. I tried everything I could think of, every book, every technique, every compromise. And then I had to face the truth I'd been avoiding. My marriage was over. I was emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My body started screaming at me in the only way it knew how. I got sick repeatedly. Ear infections so agonizing I ended up at urgent care, bawling from the pain. I was beating a dead horse, and my body was begging me to wake up. There was no intimacy left between us. The only love I felt for Matt was familial, like the love you feel for a brother or a parent, warm but distant, safe but empty. Asking for the divorce was the hardest thing I've ever done. I thought it would destroy me. From the outside, it seemed insane. Matt was supportive. He loved our daughter endlessly. He made great money. He was funny and kind when he talked to people. We had stability. We had a nuclear family. Why would anyone walk away from that? But my therapist said something I'll never forget. She asked me, "Would you rather have your daughter grow up in one home with married parents who love her but aren't happy? Or two homes with divorced parents who are both happy?" And she was completely right. I was painfully unhappy. And if my daughter grew up watching me with her father, she'd learn that's what relationships look like. No intimacy, no touching, no hugging or kissing, no small moments of affection, just coexistence. I want so much more for her. I want her to know a beautiful kind of love, the kind with hand-holding and small kisses for no reason, the kind that brings happiness and intimacy, not just stability. And Matt and I couldn't give her an example of that. I am now legally divorced, 7 months separated, and I cannot begin to explain the happiness and self-fulfillment I've already experienced. It's still so fresh, but I truly feel like a new person. I see Matt thriving too. We've maintained a friendship, an amicable separation. That's been an incredible blessing for everyone, especially our daughter. I'm excited about my future again. I see Matt excited about his too. Our daughter is thriving. I'll be forever grateful to him for everything he provided, for allowing me the time to raise her without working. Those years with her were one of the greatest gifts I've ever received. I'll go back to work soon to support myself and my daughter. She turned 4 last September. She may never remember this time we had together when she's older, but I'll always have those memories. Here's what I need you to understand. Leaving a marriage doesn't have to be about something catastrophic. It doesn't require cheating or abuse or lies or financial ruin. Sometimes it's the right decision simply because you want to be loved. Really loved. Not just tolerated or appreciated or provided for. Loved. That's exactly what I did, and it's been the best decision of my life. I truly believe my daughter will have 2 happy divorced parents. She'll grow up seeing real intimacy, real affection, real partnership when we both find it again. And that's worth everything. People ask me if I have regrets, if I'm scared, if I wonder what might have happened if I just stuck it out. The answer is no. Not for a second, because I know what would have happened. I would have stayed small, stayed quiet, stayed disconnected from myself and from any possibility of real love. I spent years trying to make it work. I gave it everything I had. There's peace in that. There's no guilt. I know I tried, and I know when to stop trying. My daughter deserves a mother who's whole, who's happy, who models what it looks like to choose yourself when you need to, not selfishly, but courageously. She deserves to see that staying isn't always the brave choice. Sometimes leaving is. I'm building a new life now, one where I get to decide what I want, where I get to rediscover who I am outside of being someone's wife. I'm terrified sometimes. Unemployed with a 4-year-old and starting over at 37 isn't exactly the dream, but it's mine, and it's real, and it's full of possibility in a way my marriage never was. The first few months after I moved out were the strangest. I'd wake up in my new apartment and forget where I was for a second. Everything felt lighter and heavier at the same time. Lighter because I could finally breathe. Heavier because I was facing the unknown completely alone. I had to learn how to be just me again, not Matt's wife, not defined by what we were or weren't, just Kayleen. Some nights my daughter would be with Matt, and I'd sit in the silence of my empty apartment, wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake. The doubts would creep in. But then I'd remember how it felt to live in that house with him. The loneliness of sleeping next to someone and feeling completely alone. The ache of wanting to reach out and stopping myself because I knew the touch wouldn't mean anything. That loneliness was so much worse than being actually alone. I started doing small things for myself, things I hadn't done in years. I'd take long walks without checking the time. I'd read books that had nothing to do with parenting or marriage or self-improvement. I'd sit in coffee shops and just watch people. I was getting to know myself again. And I realized I actually liked who I was becoming. If you're in a relationship that feels empty, even if nothing is technically wrong, listen to that feeling. Don't wait for the catastrophe. Don't wait for the dramatic reason. Your unhappiness is reason enough. Your desire for more is valid. Your need for intimacy and connection and real partnership matters. I wasted years thinking I needed a better reason to leave. I thought I was being ungrateful, selfish, dramatic. I thought I should be happy with what I had because so many people have it worse. But that kind of thinking kept me stuck. And it almost broke me. You don't need permission to want more from your life. You don't need anyone's approval. You just need the courage to take that leap. This channel is full of people like me, sharing the truths we've learned, the mistakes we've made, the wisdom we've gathered. If this meant something to you, subscribe, turn on notifications. There are more stories coming. And if you've lived through something similar, or if you're in the middle of it right now, leave a comment. Tell me what resonated. Tell me what you're thinking. Because these conversations matter. Your story matters. If you've got your own experience worth sharing, something you think might help someone else, there's a form down in the description. Fill it out. The next video could be yours.